Okay, welcome to Say Less Footy podcast. This is episode 1. It is almost round 7, a little late to the game this year, but hey, thanks for tuning in if you found us. You obviously love the beautiful game of rugby league, and what a season so far. It's hats off to the NRL. They have done a really good job with the draw. Even the trial competition was absolutely fantastic this year. There's been so many golden points. We've even had a draw. Like the footy's been absolutely amazing. How good it is. Footy is back. Now, Sailors Footy Podcast. I don't want to talk for hours. We're going to try and keep it short and sweet. Sort of go through how the season's gone this year. Hopefully, drop another tips for the round maybe later today. And hopefully, we're going to do that every week, do a round wrap, do our tips for the weekend, and maybe do some player to watches during the midweek as well. But thanks for tuning in. Let's get straight into the footy. Let's wrap up how the teams are going so far. Let's go from the top of the ladder to the bottom of the ladder, starting with the Broncos. Now, what an amazing start to the season. Had a little slip up last week against the Raiders, but you know, trying to win all those games in a row. Um, like it was always going to happen. Like you can't, streaks are unbelievable, but they've always had the talent, and I think that they're finally buying into the Kevin Walters sort of man managing culture. Just remember, he's a product of Wayne Bennett. Played under Wayne Bennett, like the way he did with the when he coached the Maroons. He's a man manager, and the team is finally buying into his culture. I think they'll go deep into the finals. I don't think that they're ready to win the comp this year, but they're going to go deep into the finals. Who we got after that? The Panthers. Can they go 3 in a row? Obviously, lost some big names in the off season, but they've got a really, really good depth. They've got a nursery out there, like the best in the game. I just think that they will go close, but I don't know. I think 3 in a row is very, very tough. But they will go deep, very deep this year. After them, Panthers, a little bit of a slow start in the season, starting to find their feet. Still without Pappenhausen. Meany's been humongous for them. A little bit light in the edges. They've lost a lot of big players. I think they'll go pretty well this year. Grand final, I mean, like it'd be an absolute fairy tale for Bellamy. Um, but who knows? I think they're going to go close. Who we got after that? The Dolphins. Wow, absolutely came out of the block, surprised everyone. You know, no massive big signings. I mean, the Bromwich brothers are probably their biggest signings. Felice Kafusi, Sean O'Sullivan was playing awesome before he got injured. It's still that Wayne Bennett factor, the belief in the team. He manages, he man manages, like he brings good culture to the team. But I think what we're seeing now is they're sort of getting a few injuries and they're going to struggle with depth. Um, I can't see them making finals this year. I think they're going to miss the finals. Maybe they'll finish around that ninth, 10th, 11th spot. But I mean, it's still a good season for a first season for a club. Next up we have the Warriors. Warriors going really well. Unlucky to lose last round. XJ is back. I think it took a year for him to reacclimatize into the Warriors. The Warriors are back home. Webster, awesome, awesome coach. Has done his time, and now he's showing what he can do. Some really, really smart buys in the off season. Jackson Ford is been very impressive. Absolutely love him, but just good to see SJ just running the ball again. There just seems to be a good sort of culture around that Warriors team, and I think they're going to play finals this year. Next up, we have the Titans. Look, like they've improved this year. AJ Brinson playing really well before he got injured. Kieran Foran, very, very good buy. They need to keep him fit. Maybe he just needs to not sort of put himself in the line so much when he's attacking. Um, I just think that they have improved. They look good in bits, but I just think I think they may miss the finals this year. Roosters, another one, slow start. Missing JWH in the first round was big. But they're always slow starters. You just look at that team and it's absolutely stacked with a sombrero. there's so many good players. I think the key for them is Kiri and Walker to play really well. They've got so many stars around them. If Kiri and Walker can guide that team around, I am tipping that the Roosters are going to win the grand final this year. Yep, that is a big prediction. But I mean, when you've got players like Teddy, Joey Manu, who I think is one of the best players in the game. You've got Sawali, Mr. Off to Rugby, JWH, Radley, Smith. Like, there's just so many stars in that team, and I just think the Roosters will get it done this year. I might be in my words later, but oh well. The Knights playing well above their weight. Um, Hastings slotted in really well. Um, they've got some guns there, and it might be controversial, but I think losing Ponga is actually being good for them because it's made them less one-dimensional and like teams don't really know where their attack's coming. Obviously, they're looking at the halves, but you've got Hastings, you got Gamble. There's some really good talkers there. Like Phoenix Crossland's come in and done a good job when he's needed. Now Brayley's out injured as well. Like I think they could sneak in to the finals. I highly doubt it, but I mean, there's some really good signs from the Knights, and I think it is just not having that one-dimensional attack, which is Kalen Ponga, which has actually benefited them, and that's why they're winning more games this year. Who we got next? We got Manly, the Manly Seagulls. Well, absolutely smashed it in the preseason comp. It's a Anthony Seibold experiment. Like, is he? How's he? I think he would have learned a lot from his time at the Broncos, and I think he's still an X's and O's man. But I think he's learned a little bit more about being a people manager, and I think he went out and sought a bit of advice and stuff when he wasn't coaching as a head coach. Yeah, like Tommy's running at about 75%. Their right edge, a lot of injuries to their right edge, and I think that's sort of where a lot of the tries are being let in. I really think Daly Cherry Evans is going to have a big season, and I think sort of being snubbed for that sort of number seven Australian spot. Like at the start of the season, like if this is round one, my prediction was Cherry Evans for the Dally M. Like I just think Manly need to sort of just find a bit of form. I- They've got some big forwards, and I think they just need to just put the ball under their arm and run. Once Tommy sort of gets fully fit, I really think Manly will make the finals this year. Will be interesting, and I love seeing Cooper Johns in six. I don't think Schuster's a six. I think you need to run him as a 13, ball playing 13. I think that's a great. And I think you need to keep Johns outside of Cherry Evans. I think that's going to go really well for the Manly Seagulls. Yeah, I think they can make the finals. Righto, who have we got next? All right, the Rabbits. Slow start of the season, probably like some of the top sides from last year. Sort of the way NRL stacked the draw was like the top sides playing the top sides, and the lower sides playing the lower sides. I think it's been really good. It's sort of evened out, given some teams some confidence. But slow start for the Rabbits, but they seem to be hitting their form now. Um, their combinations. They've just been like losing a lot of their forwards to injury, and I think that's what's sort of costing them. And I think they're a little bit light on the outside backs. Obviously, Johnson, and Latrell, and Campbell Graham. Campbell Graham's been huge. Probably his best season so far. He'll play Origin this year for sure. I just think their other winger, their other centre, they've been chopping and changing, and yeah, there's not a lot of not a lot of experience there, but I think if they can stay healthy, I think they're going to go close, and I think they actually even make the grand final this year. So yeah, so I'm saying Roosters Rabbits grand final. If you're a betting man, get your $10 on now. Up next, all right, the Sharks. Well, absolutely fantastic last year. Dally M, Nico Hines. Think they're getting a bit of a second year syndrome. I think they played above their weight last year. Like they've really got some talent. I think they started the season a little bit overconfident, especially without Nico Hines as well. He come back, played one good game, and then was a bit ordinary last week. I just think they need to get back to basics and just sort of get back into their structures. And I think that the talent that they have, especially on the edges, is going to play well. I mean, I think they should make the finals. I don't think they're going to win the grand final. I just think they may just scrape into the finals this year, as it's pretty much what Sharks do every year. After that, we've got the Dragons. Well, what can we say about the Dragons? It's such a talented squad. Like you look at them on paper, there's so much talent there, absolute talent. Like from obviously Benny Hunt, but like their outside backs have got talent, their forwards have got talent. Like it's a stacked roster, but they've got issues. There's too much noise in the back room. Like in I think that's going to sort of derail their season. The coach is going to go any week now, like, and then they're going to have an interim coach or they'll appoint a new coach. But if you're starting in a new role, like you might want to wait till next year. Who knows? But I think the Dragons are going to really struggle this year, even though they have a fantastic side. Bulldogs look some good signs there. They're unearthing some good juniors. They've got savvy buys. First year Serraldo. I think they're going to win some games. The Fox is a big loss, but I still think that they're probably going to finish closer to the bottom, and they're not going to make finals this year. Next up, who we got? We got the Eels. So hard to start. To the draw was absolutely tough on them. Like playing like top sides the week after the bye. Like the Parramatta are a confidence team, and I think the draw is just really taking it out of them. I think they're gonna need to go on an absolute winning streak to sort of think about playing finals this year. Like they should, like the quality in their side, they should play finals. But I I think their slow start might have already cost them. So I mean, it's obviously time will tell, but they could be one of the top sides to actually fall out of the eight this year. So yeah, maybe I'll be eating my words, but hey, my opinion. Anyway, moving on. Who we got now? We got Cowboys. All right, so I'm gonna put Cowboys in the same sort of bucket as the Sharks, sort of played above their weight class, or played out of their skins last year. Like really surprised the competition. Like they played awesome, but I think there's just maybe some heads that got a little bit too big. I think Todd Payton needs to bring them back down to basics and sort of go back. Like Tom Dearden probably been one of their better players this year, and losing Drinkwater for a few weeks didn't help them, who was probably their best player last year. Um, but yeah, I think they can make the finals. They just need to get back to basics. Like they don't look like that how they're playing. And I think a lot of their forwards aren't playing up to standard as they were last year. So they look, I'm gonna say miss the finals, but yeah, who knows? Next up we have the Raiders. Obviously, yeah, slow start in the season. Knocked off the Broncos last week, surprised everyone. Look, they've had a lot of day games, and Canberra, cold plays. Like I even saw it in the trials when the Tigers beat them. Like I think they're going to win more night games than obviously day games. They've got a big pack. They've got a big team, big size. I think the Heat takes it out of them. Um, but what I will say is never ever write off a Ricky Stewart coach team. They could surprise everyone and make the finals this year. They always are around that eighth, ninth, tenth. So yeah, slow start of the season. Going to look at the draw and see how many night games they've got. I think they're going to win most of their night games. And then lucky last, well, we have the Tigers. No wins so far. Thank God for the bye this week. Um, what can I say? Look, it's Tim Sheens, Benji Marshall, the whole coaching staff, Robbie Farah, Dave Ferner. Like, it's once again, it's another 5-year plan with the Tigers. I still think Tim Sheens is a very good football brain. I think he is as knowledgeable as someone like Wayne Bennett. I think there's a long term picture. I think it's about building our junior base and bringing them up. Like you already see young people, young guys like a Tupo, Matamata coming through. Like we need to just start like that. Will get there, but like I think we're going to bring through these young guys. Terrible news for Adam Dewey, another ACL. I think what you're going to see, he's probably going to have about 6 months left on his contract with the Tigers when he comes back next year. I think three ACLs. I think like he may get picked up by someone else after that, but I think he's just going to have to understand that he's probably going to end up as he's got an X factor, he's got talent, but he's just going to end up as a sort of a mid tier sort of center. Like I think it's actually going to help the Tigers without him in the team. And I know it sounds horrible, but I think when you saw Brooks and Dewey, and I'm sure they're friends and I'm sure they get along, but I feel like they're both trying to run a team. So the Tigers have looked like two separate teams, one going one way, one going the other. So I think not having Dewey there is the Tigers are all going to be going in one direction. So I think this actually there's a silver lining here. So um, yeah, you know, thank God for the bye, and then geez, we got a tough run after that. Praying for ninth. But I think it's between us, the Dragons, and maybe the Bulldogs sort of fighting it out for the spoon this year. So yeah, that's my sort of rundown on how the competition has shaped up so far. Obviously, some bold predictions there, but hey, this is Say Less Footy podcast. This is my channel, so in my opinion, thanks for tuning in. I will drop another video later on with my tips for this round. So, yeah, do that, like, subscribe, I don't know, share, whatever you want to do. Thanks for coming. Say Less Podcast. Peace out.